Hi, this is part three of A Culture of Using the Right Words, Shame versus Humility. Okay, so as I'm saying, shame is a low frequency vibration, humility is a high frequency vibration. Shame is rooted in illusion, humility is rooted in reality. Okay. And when I say rooted in reality, I'm rooted in illusion. When I'm talking about shame, I'm talking about when you are made to feel that your value as a person is determined by other people's perception of you. Okay. Your value as a person is determined by your actions and your choices, but you still have intrinsic value as a human being. You know what I mean? Even if you make mistakes, and your value is that much higher when you choose to do the right thing, even when it's difficult. When you choose to correct yourself, even if it means losing access to people, places, and things which before you were a part of that made you feel belonging, that you felt like you belonged to. You know what I'm saying? So you are showing so that's real humility. You know what I'm saying? You're doing the right thing even if it's hard. That requires you to actually be humble, to accept that there's nothing that I am able to manipulate to serve the purposes of my ego without dealing with the consequences of degrading that thing and myself. That's humility. Okay. And so in the boss context, if the boss is more humble, they'll respect the fact that my employees or my staff have lives of their own. That if I'm going to manipulate them in order to make me more money so that I can have my ego boosted, so that I don't have to deal with the feeling of being ashamed of myself for not being validated by my fellow peers in my community or family, you know, then in that state of humility, the boss will actually be raising everyone's vibration, including their own. And you might find they find other avenues to make money, because then they will be attracting more higher vibrational experiences and people. Okay. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why you will see super wealthy people finding it so difficult to use their money to uplift the society because, a lot of them come from families where there is like serious emotional abuse. And shame is a weapon that is wielded against them anytime they try to do something different from what their parents or families have been doing, you know. And so when you say to them, you should really give your money away and help raise other people out of poverty, if they haven't realized themselves by adopting a sense of humility that actually, I have to be of service to my fellow human beings because that's what it means to be a human being. That's why, the humanist philosophy of Ubuntu says, Umuntu ungumuntu ngabantu, a person is because of and through other people. You know, you'll have to, and that's what it means to self actualize. That's what Abraham Maslow is talking about in his hierarchy of needs, that the highest need is to self actualize. And what is self actualization? It is understanding that you are here to be of service to the humanity, the earth, the earthlings that we share this place with, to the consciousness field, to raise the vibration so that everyone who interacts with you consciously is uplifted. A person is because of and through other people. You being high vibrational means the people around you will be high vibrational. You know what I'm saying? That's being of service. Okay. So this thing of shame versus humility, I also think like beyond it just being about the right words, it's about the right type of consciousness to have. I think it's very problematic that we just kind of assume that it's normal for us to live in this culture where shame is a part of how we view ourselves and interact with people around us, is the motivating force behind our worldviews and our interactions with people. I think it needs to be interrogated because, as we can see, it's extremely destructive. So there's this movie which illustrates this in a very cool way. And it's an anime movie called K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay. So it's about these women who, like, through the ages have hunted demons and sent them back to the netherworld, and then also sealed earth from the access of these demons who come and basically steal people's souls. And now you see there's one character who's a demon, who leads these demons to come and take down these demon hunters, right? And the reason why he's a demon and in the service, or basically enslaved to the demon god, is because he did something which he felt rightfully ashamed of. It was wrong what he did. But now this demon god twisted that feeling of shame and made it appear that this is his permanent identity, and that his value as a being, as a soul, has been utterly eradicated by that one mistake that he made, that he was ashamed of. Okay. So the demon hunter, the leader of the demon hunters on her side, also has a deep sense of shame. And the reason why she's deeply ashamed is because the truth about her is that she's actually half human, half demon. And she hides her demon self from her fellow demon hunters, right? And then she meets this demon. So this demon basically is there to seduce her out of her path, right, of being a demon hunter, so that the demon god can prevail over the earth. But he sees her half demon side, and now they have something that's connecting them. And then he tells her his story of his shame, which has now made him enslaved to the demon god. And so now they are in a situation where they start to work towards healing this shame and acknowledging that their true reality is valuable souls who have the potential to move forward and be anything they want to be, you know. And so in the end, so these demon hunters are singers, they're musicians, and through their voices, through their singing, is how they reinforce the energetic field of earth, so that the demon god and his minions are not able to come and steal people's souls. Okay. So in the end, so now what's interesting in this movie is that they write a song. So now they like I said, they use their songs to fight the negativity. So now they write this song, which is basically shaming the demons. Okay. Shaming the demon god, but also shaming his minions, right? The whole demon realm. They're shaming them. And she, the leader of the demon hunters, because she's half demon, she feels this shame that's being imposed on her, being half demon, that they are trying to, through the song, are intending to impose on the demon god and his minions. And she's like, and also because now she's actually fallen in love with this demon, because of their shared story of shame. She knows that in order to heal him, to help him, in order to help herself, shame cannot be part of the weaponry used. Love has to be the weaponry. Truth has to be the weaponry used to defeat this demon god. Okay. And so in the end, after they seem to have succumbed to the demon god, she then takes off her jacket that she uses to cover her demon markings. And she's like, this is who I am, and I'm no longer going to be ashamed of it. And if I had just been honest and trusted that you would still love me, she's talking to her friends, then we wouldn't be in this situation of succumbing to the demon god. And I think that is such a powerful illustration of what shame does. But then instead of her continuing to hide based on the shame, what does she do? She adopts humility. The humility to say, this is who I really am. The humility to put her heart wide open and to say, take me as I am or leave me as I am, but I am who I am. I acknowledge myself for who I am. So she starts to sing this song. And the demon god immediately recognizes the vibration of love, acceptance based on humility that she is emitting is exactly what's going to destroy him. And it destroys him. And everyone is free, basically. And the demons also, I think, become free. They don't really illustrate that, but that's what I see. So in conclusion, it's all about energy. And as Anne, the Black Wind psychic, says all the time in her readings, it's all about energy. She'll be like, the energy coming through in this reading, and she'll say energy, energy, energy is the energy of this. and I'm going to just do part 4 and carry on about the energy issue.